so you wouldn't be hearing Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven anytime soon.
Seen it once, don't remember when. Think it's time to watch it again. Follow, subscribe, stay up to date. Episodes drop the last Friday. It's a Matt, forgot that. It's a Matt, forgot that. It's a Matt, forgot that podcast.
And welcome to the Matt Forgot That podcast, the place to recollect and reminisce. I'm your host, Matt Seroski, filmmaker, film fan. Each episode, I'm going to rewatch and review a movie or TV pilot that I've seen before but don't quite remember. It could be a blockbuster, critic's choice, or cult classic. To join in on the conversation, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've discussed, or want to share your own trip down memory lane, use the hashtag MattForgotThat on social. Before we start, Mead was a company that created Trapper Keepers, which were meant for kids to organize their schoolwork. There were 3 binder rings so you could lock notebooks, papers, and even rulers or protractors, all in one compartment that closed with a Velcro flap. There was nothing more exciting than going to the 5 and 10 and selecting your Trapper Keeper for the school year. They had different designs from television, movies, and pop culture, and also imagery that has become synonymous with picture day backgrounds from the 80s. There were also subject folders that were meant to trap any paper in its pockets. It was built in a way where you could chuck your folder across the class like a frisbee, and your loose-leaf papers would still be secure. But recently, a question has arisen on social media about what colors you used for each subject in school. Now, each folder had information in it, like the multiplication table or periodic table, so I would match the subject to the information that was in each folder. But I think there's a Mandela effect happening because everyone remembers a different color scheme for the folders. This is the way I remember it. Blue was English. Green, science, red, math, and yellow, history. Now, if you use the Trapper Keeper folders, how did you remember it? No cheating, don't look it up, just from your memory. On to the main attraction. Each review will end with a ranking out of 5 stars. 1 star is skip it, 2 stars watch at your own risk, 3 stars standard fare, 4 stars worth checking out, and 5 stars must see. Now, if I give a title 5 stars, it doesn't mean I'm comparing it to Casablanca, Jaws, or Seinfeld. I rank titles based on other movies or TV series in that genre and at that time period. In this episode of the podcast, I'm rewatching and reviewing Bowfinger from 1999. It was directed by Frank Oz, who helmed musical comedies The Muppets Take Manhattan and Little Shop of Horrors, crime comedy Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and crime drama The Score. He won a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Comedy, Variety, or Music Series for The Muppet Show. The screenplay was written by Steve Martin, who scribed comedies The Jerk, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, The Man with Two Brains, Three Amigos, Roxanne, and episodes of The Glenn Campbell Good Time Hour and The Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour. He won a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Writing Achievement in Comedy, Variety, or Music for The Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. It stars Steve Martin as Bobby Bowfinger. While studying at CSU Long Beach, he majored in philosophy, which would inspire his eccentric comedy style. He became a writer on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour after his girlfriend, who was a dancer on the show, submitted some of his bits and jokes. His comedy albums, Let's Get Small and A Wild and Crazy Guy, both went platinum and reached the top 10 on the Billboard 200. He appeared on The Tonight Show, The Gong Show, The Muppet Show, and Saturday Night Live, performing some of his routines. He made his big screen film debut as a hippie in Another Nice Mess, directed by Bob Einstein. This would be followed by a featured role in Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and a cameo in The Muppet Movie. But his breakthrough would be in The Jerk, directed by Carl Reiner. He has 1 Primetime Emmy Award, 5 Grammys, and an Honorary Academy Award. He was also nominated for 2 Tonys. Eddie Murphy portrays Kit Ramsey and Jiff Ramsey. He was inspired to pursue stand-up after listening to Richard Pryor albums, and was influenced in character creation by Peter Sellers. He started doing stand-up as a teenager, and earned a spot as a cast member of Saturday Night Live. He reached instant stardom with impressions of Gumby, Buckwheat, and Mr. Robinson, a parody of Mr. Rogers. His big screen debut was in the action comedy 48 Hours with Nick Nolte. The next year, he released comedy special Delirious on HBO to critical and commercial acclaim. He was an in-demand star of the 80s and 90s, winning a Golden Globe, Emmy, and Grammy. He was nominated for an Academy Award in 2007 as Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role for Dreamgirls. Bowfinger also features Heather Graham, Christine Baranski, Jamie Kennedy, Terrence Stamp, and Robert Downey Jr. So let's jump into it. This is what I remember. The premise: Bowfinger covertly films an actor and uses a lookalike as a body double. The freeway scene, where Ramsey is asked to cross an active highway. Multiple characters. Once again, Eddie Murphy plays multiple characters in the egotistical actor Kit Ramsey and his lookalike Jiff Ramsey. Now I'm heading off to watch the movie. This is what I forgot. Bobby Bowfinger is a B-movie film producer on the verge of bankruptcy when he reads a screenplay that he believes will be his big break into the big time. He calls his assistant Dave to find out where hotshot Hollywood executive Jerry Renfro is having lunch, so he can try and convince him to produce the picture. He gathers his loyal collaborators for a meeting the next morning at Bowfinger International Pictures, which is nothing more than a bungalow in a suburban neighborhood. His two actors are Slater, who's a good-looking slacker, and Carol, who has an offer to go to Edmonton for a small role in a production of Cats, which she's on the verge of accepting because she can't wait on the promises of an opportunity from Bobby. Afram is his accountant and part-time receptionist, who wrote the screenplay Chubby Rain in 12 Days. It was given that title because aliens come down to Earth in raindrops, making them chubby. But they need to find who will play the hero Keith Kincaid. Bowfinger believes that every studio in town will want this script, and asks them to give him until the afternoon to close the deal, and if he doesn't, they can go and do any other projects that are offered to them. So he goes to Le Dome restaurant and pretends to be on an important business call, within earshot of Jerry Renfro, who sees through the charade but indulges Bobby by proposing, "If you can bring me this script with Kit Ramsey attached, you'll have yourself a picture." Kit Ramsey is the hottest action star in Hollywood, with an incredulous ego that's as high as his box office returns. He's looking for his next big role that has a featured catchphrase, but rejects the latest script from his agent Hal. Bowfinger attempts to get him on board, but Ramsey is uninterested. So he decides to covertly film the action star and put him in the movie anyway. Here's a quote without context. "I know what's going on. I may be from Ohio, but I'm not from Ohio." Bowfinger is an enjoyable movie that isn't talked about enough in the comedy genre. It's a satire of Hollywood, from the studio system to self-absorbed actors to dubious directors, in the vein of Ed Wood and The Truman Show. The premise lends itself to many comical situations, and they keep finding interesting ways to film Ramsey undercover. It never gets repetitive. The cast is terrific. Steve Martin and Eddie Murphy shine in their roles, which isn't a surprise. Murphy plays both characters with very distinct personalities and is equally funny in both. The supporting actors really deliver. Christine Baranski as a veteran actress trained in the theater, Heather Graham looking for her big break in Hollywood, and Claude Brooks has a very funny scene as Ramsey's yes-man Freddy. Now, the sense of humor can vary, and some of it can be considered politically incorrect by today's standards, of course, mostly the lines from Eddie Murphy. Not sure if they were in the script or improvised, but either way provide laughs for those who have a sense of humor. Now for a little trivial trivia. The movie is based on a real-life incident where a Russian filmmaker secretly shot footage of Mary Pickford and fashioned a feature-length film from the material. The result was comedy Potosli Mary Pickford. Bowfinger was produced by Imagine Entertainment, Ron Howard and Brian Grazer's company, and distributed by Universal Pictures. It was filmed at Universal Studios in Universal City, Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank, Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles, as well as locations in Santa Monica, Long Beach, Pasadena, and West Hollywood, all in California. The cinematography was captured by Yuli Steiger, whose filmography includes comedy Soap Dish, coming-of-age dramedy Now and Then, monster remake Godzilla, and disaster flick The Day After Tomorrow. It was edited by Richard Pearson, who worked on puppet comedy Muppets from Space, horror parody Scary Movie 2, action-adventure The Rundown, thriller The Bourne Supremacy, and Bond film Quantum of Solace. He was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Achievement in Film Editing for United 93. The score was composed by David Newman, who wrote the music for dark comedy Throw Mama from the Train, fantasy comedy Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and its sequel, cult classic Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, family sports flicks The Mighty Ducks and The Sandlot, and comedy remake The Nutty Professor. His first project was on the short film Frankenweenie, directed by Tim Burton. He was nominated for Best Music, Original Musical or Comedy Score for Anastasia. He's the son of Alfred Newman, brother of Thomas Newman, and cousin of Randy Newman, all film composers. The soundtrack features songs by Marvin Gaye, Perry Como, Quincy Jones, and James Brown. The runtime is 1 hour 37 minutes. It had a budget of $55 million and grossed $98 million at the box office. On the Ski Index, I give it 4 out of 5 stars. A really solid comedy. If you've seen Bowfinger and have opinions on the movie, let me know what you think using the hashtag #MattForgotThat. Moving right along, each episode, I'm going to post throwback clips that I think people should watch. It could be movie trailers, music videos, interviews, or something completely random. Search for my YouTube page and there'll be a playlist called Matt Forgot That Playback. Pocket Rockers was a personal stereo player with bright, neon colors on its facing and geared towards kids, which shouldn't be a surprise because it was produced by Fisher-Price. It played a mini cassette tape that featured 2 tracks, usually by the same artist, or in some cases, had a connected theme. You could toggle between the songs, and the tunes would pick up right where you left off. They played in an endless loop, but the tapes had a 3-minute limitation, so you wouldn't be hearing Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven anytime soon. An interesting feature was that you could clip the cassettes onto your clothing, so you could wear your favorite artist, like a Reagan Bush 84 pin. I think the idea was that you could see what your friends had and trade them like baseball cards. Each tape came with a fold-out card that featured artwork and information on the band and its 2 songs. It also included some music trivia. Some of the artists available were the Bangles, Bon Jovi, Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Debbie Gibson, and Tiffany. Now, I never had Pocket Rockers because I was already collecting albums and cassette tapes, so it didn't have any appeal to me, except for the design of the stereo player. I think they stole it from the WWF tag team, the Rockers, because if you look at the title treatment on packages of Pocket Rockers and the Titantron logo of the Rockers, it is so similar, eerily similar. But like most things from the 80s, it went by the wayside with other fads, like hypercolor shirts, Bugle Boy jeans, and Freezy Freakies. So I've selected a couple of clips about Pocket Rockers, and they're all available in the Matt Forgot That Playback playlist on YouTube. Check it out. Now it's time for the recommendation. Yes, that's the word recommendation with Matt in the middle. I'm going to end each podcast with my own recommendation of a movie or TV series. Today I'm talking about Dinosaurs. It tells the story of the Sinclairs, a blue-collar family living in Pangaea, Father Earl, who works as a tree pusher, Mother Fran, a homemaker, oldest son Robbie, a sporty student, only daughter, the popular and fashion-conscious Charlene, and youngest son Baby. It features the voices of Stuart Pankin from Not Necessarily the News, Jessica Walters from Arrested Development, Jason Willinger, narrator of Everest, Beyond the Limit, and Caesar 911, Sally Struthers from All in the Family, and Kevin Clash, the voice of Elmo. It was created by Michael Jacobs, who also created sitcoms My Two Dads, Charles in Charge, Boy Meets World, and spin-off Girl Meets World, and received a nomination for Best Picture Academy Award for Quiz Show. And Bob Young, who wrote episodes for comedies The Facts of Life, Who's the Boss, 227, and Melissa and Joey. It was based on an idea from Jim Henson, and the dinosaurs were created by his Creature Shop. It was an ambitious undertaking, the first television program to utilize life-size puppet costumes with animatronic facial features for the entire cast. The technology was used to much success in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie in 1990. The anthropomorphic dinosaurs were an instant hit with children, and it would have been easy to dismiss it as just a kid's show, but the storylines were very much geared towards adults, and provided stark social commentary about the environment, civil rights, censorship, and racism, all told through the plush, cartoony dinosaurs, which makes the message more palpable and less preachy. Recently, a clip has been making the rounds on social media, where a newscaster sums up a presidential debate by saying, "The voters of this nation are presented with a choice between a monstrous, bloodthirsty psychopath and a self-confessed brain-dead ignoramus. What will future generations think of us that we cannot present the public with better alternatives than these?" Does that sound familiar? This is a Matt Forgot That after the fact. So I recorded this podcast before Joe Biden decided not to seek re-election, which makes the marginally funny observation obsolete. So on one hand, I'm mad at him for that, but at least one dinosaur is out of this race. I watched the show when I was growing up, but it's interesting to see now as an adult, and it's pretty eye-opening how ahead of its time it was in all aspects of the production. It's truly worth the rewatch. Dinosaurs was on for 4 seasons, 65 episodes from 1991 to 1993. It won a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Art Direction for a series. It also won 3 Environmental Media Awards for episodes Power Erupts, If You Were a Tree, and Changing Nature. A spin-off movie and video game was proposed, but neither came to fruition. That's all for this edition of Matt Forgot That. Thanks for listening to me reminisce. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've discussed, or want to share your own trip down memory lane, use the hashtag MattForgotThat on social. Head over to mattseroski.com for all the latest news and updates, and come back next time for the rewatch and review. It was created by Michael Jacobs, who also created sitcoms My School Dads. My School Dads? He gathers his loyal compadres. No, it's not the word. Who sees through the charade. Charade? I suddenly became Pink Floyd. In the vein of Ed Wood and The Struman Show.